I've learned a lot over my disc golf life, and the whole Whyzer Owl persona I've created is to pass along that knowledge to help viewers become more well-rounded players, or smarter players, or more informed consumers. Life took me away from the course for the past 18 months, but being away has taught me even more about the community of people who play our game. When my wife and I announced that our youngest daughter would be born with multiple congenital heart defects and would require life-saving open heart surgery after birth, the disc golf community was one of the first to rally around us. Their love, support, and well wishes carried us through the diagnosis, pre-op, operation, and recovery. As we've transitioned our family's lives towards advocacy, the Dacey family and surrounding community has helped us raise nearly $3,000 for various heart organizations. When my wife started the Massachusetts chapter of Conquering CHD, which is a national congenital heart defect organization, I knew that I could use my platform and my support within the disc golf community to do some pretty big things. I just wasn't really prepared for where one of those things would come from.
I met Alex in 2018. He was running a social media page on Instagram. I'd reached out to him for information on corporate sponsorship for the upcoming disc golf season, and he got back with me a few days later. He not only had the information I was looking for, but he also said he would personally recommend my name to the guy who ran the team for the company he was sponsored by at the time.
What really jumps out to me about Kevin is just how supportive of a guy he is. The initial conversations we had were around Infinite Discs and him wanting to help grow and promote that brand, and he saw me being on Team Infinite as someone who would sort of give him the knowledge of how to go about doing that. And it really grew from there.
Now in 2019, Alex and his wife had their second child, a little girl named Indiana. Indiana was born with a congenital heart disorder, or simply put, a hole in her heart. Alex's presence faded quite a bit, obviously on Instagram, but I kept checking in on him because occasionally he would post news of Indiana's progress, how she was struggling, all her triumphs, and I kept wanting to do something for them, but I just couldn't think of anything at the time.
When my wife and I made it public what was going on with Indy and that she was going to have these defects and need this surgery, that's when the relationship between me and Kevin switched. That I was no longer just a disc golf personality that he knew and followed. I became a friend that he was genuinely concerned for.
In May of this year, I was scheduled to run the Buffalo Marathon, but unfortunately it was canceled, like many other things, due to the COVID-19 outbreak. About a month ago, I had an idea, and I knew it was something that I had to do. Instead of driving to the Buffalo Marathon next year or flying, I decided to run. From my home in Gregory, Michigan to Buffalo, New York is 310 miles, give or take. So starting May 20th of next year, I'll be running 31 miles a day, 10 consecutive days, and then running the marathon on the 11th day.
This whole idea of him running from Gregory through Canada, 311 miles to Buffalo is just incredible. And it's really not surprising. I mean, he's done this before, running from Michigan to Chicago to get clean water to Africa. I mean, he's just a guy that genuinely cares about other people and wants to do good.
Yeah, not doing this for fun. What I'm doing it for is to raise awareness for CHD, for the thousands of children who are born every year with this, and for Indiana.
I think that Kevin represents really the best element of our game. And that's just the feeling of community. You know, we're a fringe sport. It's a niche sport. And when you find somebody who plays, you have an instant connection with them in a way that a lot of other sports you don't have that with. And that connection turns into these really tight-knit course communities and state communities and all the way up to national and global, that we're all part of this same fabric. And time again, disc golfers come out for one another when they're needed.
One of the things I've always loved about our disc golf community is when when one of us is in need, others are always going to step up and help if they can.
And I'm just so thankful that our sport has that kind of culture. And I bet that it's not too hard to find a bunch of stories like mine and find a bunch of guys like Kevin that are just solid human beings that want to help fellow human beings. Hey guys, I know that this is very different than what you're used to seeing from me, and I just want to thank you for taking the time to watch it and sticking around to sort of hear this little spiel. The reason why I'm doing this is because I want to raise awareness and advocate for kids like Indy, because it's way more prevalent than you think. Congenital heart defects are the #1 birth defect, and about 1 of every 100 births will result in a child that has a congenital heart defect. If you want to get more involved, check out conqueringchd.org. We're a national organization with plenty of state-level chapters that help advocate and educate and support families who are dealing with congenital heart defects. So please, I implore you to check those things out, support Kevin, and as always, be good to yourselves, be good to others, and play Whyzer. Thanks, guys.